What felt like a useless piece of advice until you actually tried it. Once begun is half done. I am a terrible procrastinator by nature. I have totally done the well now at 5:02, so I have to wait until 6 o'clock to start cleaning, and I like making things seem like so much work that I can't possibly do them unless I take time off of work. In reality, if you just start a project without thinking about it, you can get everything done in like 15 minutes a day, and it's never really that bad. This too shall pass. On those days when I just feel like I can't take it, I think of that, and I know tomorrow will be different. Someone once told me, tomorrow may not be better, but at least it'll be different in a strange way that too is comforting. Keeping my shoulders back. It was a suggestion I saw for preventing panic anxiety. IDK what it is, but when your shoulders are in that position it gives some strange feeling of control. I also read somewhere that during panic attacks the body basically wants to curl into fetal position for protection. So I feel like focusing on keeping your arms down and shoulders back is a conscious way to go against that and stay grounded in reality. Works for me. Could work for you too. It opens up your airway because your chest isn't being smothered by your tensed shoulders. You can get full breaths. That forest app. It grows a tree for up to 2 hours, and during that time, you can't access any apps you think will distract you. If you wanna open a distracting app, you'd have to kill your tree. All your trees, dead or alive, appear in a little forest. I have always had trouble motivating myself to focus on homework and not look at Reddit YouTube. But this app is just enough guilt to not open them. I haven't killed anything yet, and I'm surprised at how much I can care about a small virtual tree. People told me about it and I just completely assumed that I'd never use it or it wouldn't work for me, considering how distractible I am. But it works wonders. My dad always told me ask anyway. The worst they can say is no when buying something or when I needed something from another person. Seemed stupid to ask if I was sure they would say no, but I was also a socially anxious kid. Turns out that advice has helped me with school, with raises, with people in general, with plans with new friends. Another thing, a stupid question is better than a stupid mistake. For gamers, play games that have a beneficial AFK element in-game. Then whenever you need to do some AFK stuff, spend the time it takes cleaning your house. Started playing Black Desert Online on Xbox. My house has never been cleaner and I'm doing it so regularly that it's becoming a habit, and when I'm all caught up I nap. It's like I tricked myself into taking care of me and my place with games. Easily the best life change I've made this year. I'm productive in game, at home, and I'm well rested. 1010 highly recommend. Exercising helping with depression and anxiety. It's not a cure-all and I needed to be on meds to get to the point where I could do it, but it really does help me. I've been off my meds now for over a year. Under doctor's supervision. Don't stop taking your meds unless you run it by your doctor. And when I can't exercise for a few days, I can feel the depression and anxiety coming back. Now instead of going through a million things I did wrong in my head, I run for 3 miles or lift some heavy weights. Fans on my old MacBook died. Saw a YouTube video that said to simply take your fist and bang on the part of the computer that housed the fans. Thinking it was a troll, I gave it a shot out of pure frustration, and lo and behold, they purred back to life and I never had another issue with them for the rest of the time that I owned that computer. Back when iPods were all the rage, mine got an error. I googled the error, and the fix was to drop it from about 6 inches. I did so thinking at worst my broken iPod will be more broken, but it started right up. As someone with a phobia of needles my entire life, I finally, 30 years in, had a nurse tell me to ask for a spare alcohol pad and sniff it right as I'm about to get jabbed. She said the harsh smell is enough of a distraction to keep your mind off the needle. I was there for a flu shot, so I got to try it out right away. I wasn't expecting much, but it worked. I've been doing it ever since, and have no trouble with shot or blood draws now, which is huge for someone they've triggered panic attacks and near fainting in before. Edit. Thank you for the silver. Hoping this helps everyone as much as it helped me. Explain it to the nurse who's doing your shot blood draw. 2. I always do, in hopes that they'll remember and use it next time they have someone who struggles with needles, and pass the knowledge along. One day at a time. It's been helping me stay focused in the now. My grandma, rest her soul, gave me a similar piece of advice, but with a variant. If you feel like you can't survive a week, focus on getting through one day. One day too much, 1 hour too much, 1 minute, whatever it takes. If you can survive one, you can survive another. Edit, Reddit Gold. Whoa dude, really all I can think is grandma would have been so happy to know that a lesson she taught me is being shared and hopefully heard by so many people. Stick to the same sleep schedule on your days off that you follow on days when you have to be somewhere at a specific time, like school or work days. I spent my whole life sleeping until noon on weekends, thinking I was storing sleep in some imaginary sleep bank. I recently started waking up early on weekends, and now I don't have trouble waking up when my alarm goes off during the week. Plus I have all this extra time to do stuff because I'm not sleeping all day. I loved working the swing shift, 2:10 p.m. I'd sleep from 1-9 and got the best sleep of my life. Had several hours in the morning to use how I wished. I actually ate breakfast and exercised before work. I've given up on exercising before 7 a.m. I just can't bring myself to do it. My dad once had a customer in a very run-down apartment complex. He went into a unit that, typically in this apartment building, is crawling with roaches. A little old lady lived there and he didn't notice a single roach. The secret? Boric acid mixed with sweetened condensed milk. Mix until it's dough-like. Stick small balls in places where kids and animals cannot reach. The roaches take it back to their nests and it destroys them all. I grew up in a very old home and I can only recall roaches once. My dad did this trick and I never saw another for about 7 years. Cheap and extremely effective. Edited for spelling it sweet and condensed. Hey, I thought it was funny. A few more edits. Thanks for the precious metals guys. I'm reading a ton of folks say it works on ants too. Score. Also, yes you can sprinkle the boric acid. Some are saying borax works too. On the floor but I like the balls because there's no dealing with a dust layer. To hide them, drop them behind a refrigerator, in a hole under the sink, above a kitchen cabinet. Is it toxic to kids' pets? I was assuming so. Many say no, but I'd rather just keep them up and away and not have to find out. Don't need any diarrhea or vomiting in my life at the moment. I have no idea why it works for years, but I'm guessing it's because roaches feed on each other when they die so the dead ones become poison to the living ones. So the ratio of dead ones continues to increase. Oh, and I'm not a man. This should be at the top. Practice gratitude every day, even if it's for the smallest thing. Be grateful for waking up on time, or that your lunch was extra good, or that you got off work when you were supposed to, or that it wasn't a bleary day. Grateful people are happy people and if you can find at least one thing in your day to be grateful for, it makes an impact. It really is the little things. Never take I-90 through Chicago, my sister said to me in 2002. Yeah, okay. Thanks was my reply. In 2004, just over the border of Wisconsin we stopped for gas. We were on day 3 of our drive back from Yellowstone and had been on the road for almost 2 weeks in total. Funds were low. There was nothing left for another hotel that night. It was 11 a.m. Our calculations, pre-GPS, had us home at about 1 a.m. We looked at the map, saw the upcoming highway split and were debating between heading straight for I-80 or staying on I-90. Well, the last sign said 90 minutes to Chicago, may as well have a deep dish pizza for lunch. Plus, it looks like a more direct route. Mistakes were made. At 3 p.m. we had admitted defeat. There would be no lunch. The infinite traffic wouldn't allow for it. By 4 p.m. my will was broken. I pulled the e-brake, opened my door, and walked from the middle lane to the ditch just after a bridge to relieve the pressure in my bladder. Shortly after we would say F this, let's just get off here. That too was a mistake. The signs were in Spanish. The route back to the highway eluded us. We weren't even sure what time zone we were in. We asked a guy at the corner at a red light, "Hey man, what time is it?" I'll never forget his response, "Your mother." At 6:30 p.m. we finally drove past what is now Guaranteed Rate Park, fully immersed in Chicago rush hour. An hour later we crossed into Indiana. Broken people. We had an utterly forgettable pizza, got back on the road, and endured a drive home that lasted well past dawn. I told you to never take I-90 through Chicago, my sister said to me when I told her our tale of that day. She was right. I should have remembered that. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm only 16, so I hope you didn't cringe from the editing. I hope we can get to 50,000 subscribers because I wouldn't be here without all of you. So thank you so much for your time and energy, and please subscribe.